Hello and welcome to video 5 of the rules of replacement. Uh, Again, in this video we will be solving a few interesting and a little bit of complicated questions which do not usually give you very easy solutions, or the solution may not be called a very easy solution, but a little bit of working will give us the solution. So the question is P wedge I dot L. P wedge I implies negation of L wedge C. P dot negation C implies E dot F. Therefore, F wedge D. So to create F wedge D, there is one way. Either you create F or you create D and add it. This is one way. The other way is that if you can create a constructive dilemma. So for constructive dilemma, if you find something with something and something with something, so if the first part of both the conjunctions are connected with the help of a wedge, so the second part will also be connected with the wedge. So that understanding, you know what is constructive dilemma and so on. So let us see, or maybe it will come like negation of F implies D. So because of that also you will get F wedge D. That also can be created. So let us try to solve this question. Now, in order to solve this question, if you see, we can get this P wedge I from this step. So let us first solve this. I will make it as P wedge I dot P wedge L. This is on first step distribution. So on step number 5, I will clear or simplify P wedge I. So this is on step number 4, simplification. Okay, so I have got this. Now I can enter this line. So I will get negation of L wedge C. This is going to be 2nd and 5 modus ponens. So I have got this part. So if you solve this a little bit, you will find negation of L dot negation of C. This will be on 6th De Morgan's law. Now you have got L, negation of L and negation of C. So you have to see that what is going to be, or what is it which you can create out of it. You get negation of L. Whether it will be of any use, yes, you can create negation of P from here, and that will serve your purpose. You understand how it is going to serve your purpose? Let us see. You take step number 8, and what you do, you take negation L out from here. So 7, simplification. Fine. Now you take this one out. 9th step, P wedge L. This is on 4th step, you applied commutation and then you simplified. Fine. So you have taken this here, and after that you simplified this step. So I have written it directly with the help of 2 steps. Okay. Now step number 10, you will apply negation L here. You can apply, so you will get P. So this will be 9-8 disjunctive syllogism. So you have got P. Now you can take this P and you can take this C as well. So 11, you can simplify negation C from here. This is going to be 7, commutation and simplification. Fine. Now you can conjoin these two together, P dot negation C, because you want to enter this line, right? So you will get it with 10, 11 conjunction. Okay. Now step number 13, you enter this line with this P dot C, so you will get E dot F. E dot F, this will be 3, 12 modus ponens. 3, 12 modus ponens. So you have got E dot F. From here you can simplify F by writing 13, commutation and then simplification, right? So you need to use 2 steps. First you have to commute and then you have to simplify. So you have got F. You can write F wedge D here, and this will be like 14 addition. So this is how you can create the answer. However, there is one thing more which you should understand in this question. I saw that here that you can create P. Okay, you can create. The solution is fine. There is absolutely no problem with this. But I think so that you can create something more as well. You can create negation of C as well. We have created P as well. I guess so there was a contradiction also in this question. P wedge I have created. So from here I have got P wedge L also I have created, and I have got this. There must be a contradiction as well in this question. P dot C, you have created P, you have created negation of C, and we got P wedge I, and we have got negation of L. Yeah. So if you see this negation of L, right here it was negation of L, right? So this negation of L can be used on, okay, that will give you a P or something. Okay, fine. But I may tell you that this question can be solved using I will say contradiction as well. And this is something which I am not finding right now, but I think that there will be a contradiction also created, because this is also going to be negation L, negation C. So we have found this negation I we have created. No, we have not got negation of I. Okay, fine. So this was one of the solutions, but there are more solutions to it, and there is also something with contradiction as well. So try to find whether you can create a contradiction, and then try to solve as well. And after this, we will come to the next question. Okay, let us solve the second question. The second question which I have chosen for this lecture is P implies A, Q implies B. Therefore, P implies, P wedge Q implies A wedge B. Now, this is a classic question of you need to solve the right hand side, because if you see, or else it is very difficult to create this question unless you actually go on to solve the RHS a little bit in order to have an idea that how you will go through this question. Why I'm saying this? Because sometimes if you will solve this, and if you will solve step number 1 and step number 2, you will never reach this unless you have solved this and got the idea that what you exactly need to do. So let us solve this and try to understand that what is going to be the case actually. If you see, this will be negation of P wedge Q wedge A wedge B. So this is the first step if we will apply material implication. This is rough work which I am doing so that you understand how to do it, how to solve this question. Negation of P dot negation of Q wedge A wedge B. So this is the second step after De Morgan's law, if we apply De Morgan's law. Now if we use distribution, what will happen? Negation of P wedge A wedge B, this is going to be one step, dot negation of Q wedge A wedge B, this is going to be the second step. Fine. Okay. Now if you see this question and you see this question, so you will understand that you will get negation of P wedge A from here. Negation of P wedge A. You need to add this B in this line, in the next line which we will be solving. Similarly, you will get negation of Q wedge B. Negation of Q wedge B. You need to add this A on that line. This is something which you should remember. So I am keeping it till the time I add it, and after that I will remove it. Okay. So what is the step? First, you make it negation of P wedge A, because you have applied material implication on step number 1. Then, as I told you, negation of P wedge A is there. You need to add B. Negation of P wedge A wedge B. Okay. So you have added on step number 3. Similarly, take out this negation of Q wedge B. This will be step number 2, material implication. And then what you have to add? You have negation Q, you have B, you need to add this A. Okay, so I will add this A. 6, negation of Q wedge B wedge A. This will be 5th addition. And after that, what I will do? Negation of Q wedge A wedge B after commutation. So it will be 6 commutation. Okay. Now I will remove the rough work, because now we do not need to have this and we can solve properly. Okay. Now, if you see, we have got actually the forms which we require in order to create this. Now, in order to create this, what we have to do? We have to conjoin these two things. We have to conjoin these two things. So I will use conjunction. I will write negation of P wedge A wedge B, one full bracket, dot, because I am conjoining, negation of Q wedge A wedge B, full bracket, and I will write it as 4, 7 conjunction. Fine. Now, as you can see that it is already in the form which we want, so we can put it as negation of P dot negation of Q. Fine. And then we will write it as wedge A wedge B. So this will be on 6 distribution, right? Because this negation of P and this negation of Q will be in dot, and this wedge will come here, and this A wedge B is the common part. So if you apply this over here, so again you will get this line, right? So we have used the distribution. So on step number 8, what will happen? This negation can go out, P wedge Q will come, and then wedge will be there, A wedge B, as usually from the right side will be there. So this will be on 7 De Morgan's law, right? Because we have applied De Morgan's here. And then 9th step will be P wedge Q implies A wedge B. So this negation and this wedge has made this implication, and this will be 8 material implication. So you can see the answer is reached. So this is the idea that how to solve these questions, because whenever you see these questions, there is some amount of right hand side solving which is required, because unless you solve the right hand side a little bit, you will not understand that how to go for these kind of questions, because these questions can be tricky initially, but once you have applied the step, or once you have applied the understanding what we have been teaching you for quite some time now, so it becomes an easier, say I will say, right, because then you get actually that free ride, because once you have solved the right hand side a little bit, the question becomes easier, simpler, and you also get enough of idea to clear that how this answer is going to come. So that is the whole idea of taking this question. I will take one more question for this video once we will be coming back. Okay, so let us come to the last part of this video, and I have chosen this question for you. C implies D, dot E implies F, G implies C wedge E, therefore G implies D wedge F. Now again, if you see this question and if you are trying to solve it, you will find that this question is not going anywhere. You can try it, you can pause the video right now and check it for yourself that how you will like to do this question. And as I tell you by my experience, this question is also not coming very easily, or at least naturally it is not coming that how we should go on to solve this question. Now, there is a way to solve this question. Once you will understand that way, then it will also give you some insight into how this question can be solved, or how these types of questions can be solved, because actually all these questions which we are practicing, the whole idea of practicing these questions is that we should understand the ways through which a question can be, say, approached, because that is the understanding, or that is the learning which should take place, or which should occur, that what are the possible approaches, what are the possible ways through which you can go and solve a question. Now, allow me to give you a brief overview of this question, that how we are going to solve this question. We need G implies D wedge F. Now, you can see that G implies C wedge E is there. So, one way of solving this question can be that you solve the right hand side, and you see the negation of G wedge D wedge F is coming. So, that is one way. Now, if I give you an idea that how to solve this question, and this is another way of solving this question, you can see that G implies something is there. Now, if this something implies D wedge F will come, then your answer will be there because of hypothetical syllogism. So G implies C wedge E. Now C wedge E implies D wedge F. So you will get the answer, right? So let us try this. Now, in order to try this, you can see that here C and D is there, here E and F is there, right? I told you that if you can create C wedge E implies D wedge F. So you need to create it from here, because this is the other thing which you have in this question, right? So let us try to do that. Let me give you an idea. If you take out this C implies D, so it will become negation of C wedge D. If you take out this E implies F, right? So it will become negation of E wedge F. If you add F here and D here, so it will become negation of C wedge D wedge F, right? And this will become negation of E wedge D wedge F, right? And then if you conjoin them together, you will get the answer. You will see it, how we are going to do it. Let us try to solve it. This is the basic idea which should be there in your mind, because till the time you have a strategy, as I told you right from the very beginning, you are not going to make any headway. You have seen in the last video that we were stuck somewhere. So we were having a strategy, but still you can be stuck. So if you are stuck, you need to change the branch. That is also the truth. But at least you need a strategy. So this is the strategy which we are going to follow, and you will see that the solution will also come. Let us remove this so that you do not get confused, and let us solve this question. So what I do is that I take C implies D. This is one simplification. Fine. On step number 4, I will simplify this as well. E implies F. So it is one commutation simplification. Fine. Okay. Step number 5. What I will do? I will do negation of C wedge D. This is third material implication. On step number 6, I will do the same here. Negation of E wedge F. This is fourth material implication. Now step number 7, what I will do? I will add F here. Negation of C wedge D wedge F. So this will be fifth addition. Step number 8, what I will do? I will add D here. Negation of E wedge negation of F wedge D. This will be sixth addition. Step number 9, I will do negation of E wedge D wedge F. What I have done? Commutation. 8 commutation. Fine. Now you can see that these two have become more or less of the same form. So what I am doing, I am going to conjoin them. Negation of C wedge, say I put a bracket here, then also it's not a problem. There is absolutely no problem. You can write addition, association. You can also write association here. Fine. So negation of C wedge, D wedge F, full bracket, dot. Negation of E wedge, D wedge F, full bracket. So what I have done, I have put conjunction in 7 and 9. Fine. Okay. So I have conjoined these two together. Okay. Now if you see, it will become as negation of C dot negation of E wedge D wedge F. Fine. This is 10 distribution. Okay. Now let us come to this part and try to solve. Now this negation of C dot negation of E can be written as negation of C wedge E wedge D wedge F. This is on 11 De Morgan's law. Fine. Okay. Now step number 13. You can make it C wedge E implies D wedge F. This is 12 material implication, because this negation and this wedge becomes an implication. So C wedge E implies D wedge F. Now you know G implies C wedge E and C wedge E implies D wedge F. So on step number 14, you will get G implies D wedge F from 2 and 13 HS. Right. So this is another, even if you can see that it's only a 14-step question, and if you see the premises, so there are 2 steps, so there is just 12 steps, but it is not going to be easy. It is not going to be easy initially. It is not going to be easy if you are not having a strategy. So the strategies of any question is an important thing, because as I told you that first you need to build on the first important thing. You should remember all the formulas, all the rules, whether they are rules of inference or whether they are rules of replacement. Second thing, you need to create a strategy. You need to solve the right hand side. You need to see how the solution should come out. You should go for it. Again, if you are going for it, you have a strategy, you have solved the right hand side, it may not come out the way you want, then you need to change. You may also need to think of a of an alternate formula as well, right? Because as I told you that P equivalence Q, the material equivalence, we will always say that okay, P implies Q dot Q implies P, but we seldom use that P dot Q wedge negation of P dot negation of Q formula. So all these things, all these methods, all these strategies are going to be damn important for you to solve these questions or solve all the questions. I am not taking more questions in this part. Okay, I have tried to give you enough of idea about the kind of questions which you will face. The rest of the questions which are there in your book or in the other book which we have also prescribed, you try to solve all those questions, and if you find any doubt, so please come with the doubt to the class. But the first and foremost thing is that you need to solve all these questions. So thank you very much for watching this video, and once we will meet next time, we will use conditional proof for solving questions.